Hey world, it's Sean Marie, and I'm planning to go to a march tomorrow, but the weather here in Florida is pretty rainy. Tornadoes close to Orlando. Tropical Storm Cristobal, I think is the name of it, coming around. So I'm going to read this poem now as a practice session, and also in case I don't get to go tomorrow, I can post. So this one's kind of a compilation of a few of my poems. It has a lot to say because there's a lot going on in the world today, and it's called In This Together. The world as we know it is changing because we're tired of the hate and the fear that have become the ruling factors. In the greatest country on earth, we're now being led by childish actors. Men who value money and clout, not love and compassion. They'll throw the whole world under the bus just for a bigger ration. So take responsibility for your anger, you men of war. It's power, greed, and fear that drive you, not your core. And when you really look within, that presence that you feel, the pure loving spiritual energy will let you know what's real. When children in America are starving every day, and our brothers in America are hunted and killed like prey, but in the meanwhile, our leaders travel in luxury in a limo, yacht, or plane. And does all this worldly excess allow them physical or spiritual gain? When 10% of America can be okay with $1 million houses, because 5G's to them is just pocket change. That same $5,000 to minimum wage workers and seniors in America, well, that's more like 20% of their annual range. Because in a world of abundance where the poor can barely survive, the rich keep getting richer, and those without health care, well, they're just left struggling to stay alive. When minimum wage workers and military still need food stamps to eat, shouldn't slave labor wages be our first human rights defeat? When our own president makes it okay to be racist, sexist, and rude, when even his own children are immigrant-born brood. How can he slam Mexicans, Muslims, blacks, and gays when even he has hired illegals all of his days? I'm just so tired of hearing all his rants and his lies when he has no compassion for the hungry children's cries. To force a child to be born but not to be loved or be fed? Laws made by so-called Christians by which we're all are led. They have no compassion for the poor, the sick, or the old. All they can think of is hoarding their gold. When 10% of the world holds 90% of the wealth, and 90% of us must struggle for nutritious food, clean water, true justice, and our health. Yes, all lives matter, but in this moment, we're all saying Black Lives Matter, and enough is enough. Because this patriarchal system has made it so very tough. We're all tired of living in a system that is broken and needs to be fixed. We need to get the big money out of our legal system and out of our politics. When more men, and especially brothers, have been to prison and not to school, God, I'm sad to live in a country so cruel. We need to stand together with our vote that says we're tired of playing the fool. Because our nation is so much more than this, more than race, religion, and hate. When we work and build together, then we'll all see just how great. Because if even one of us is struggling, then it means we're not doing our share. If each of us would just realize we need to take time to care. When we all saw an officer of the law put his knee to the neck of a black man until he expired. That's why we're out here protesting. God, we're just so damn tired. Our country enslaved a race of people for generations and beat them into submission. Centuries later, you're still wondering why they're angry and on a freedom mission? Masters gave them their religion but banned them from learning to read or write. So as free men, they had to struggle and to learn to really fight. Although our Constitution says all men are created equal. That's really not how it's been, and I think it's time that we write our next sequel. Because when first graders and Florida teens and black men are killed in the light of day, and still our Congress does nothing? Huh. Well, that just makes it obvious most of them are bought and paid for by the NRA and the KKK. That's okay. Remember you in November when our ballots will cast. You'll be replaced with people who'll be glad to work together, who'll find solutions that will last. And why do we need to pass laws just to get people to love rather than hate? So many of us now see the light through the darkness, and we're wondering just how long will we wait until those filled with greed and anger and fear start noticing our connection. Instead of getting and taking and tearing down, well, they take time for some introspection. So whether it's a lone lunatic or that mob mentality that reacts to the fear, those violent acts meant to tear us down, well, they really bring us together each year. So as we take time to listen and understand, not just to be understood, if we could feel what they are feeling, we would know how to share our good. As we help others to feel connected, to help them feel part of the one, until everyone in this world is included, well, our work here isn't done. Because we're in this together. We each need to do all that we can. So as we join hearts and hands in unity, let's create a better plan. So join me in following your heart rather than all this constant hate. All this anger and intolerance, it doesn't have to be our fate. Men and women, black and white, have all had to fight for their right to vote. King and Kennedy, Malcolm and Lincoln, they were all shot down knowing we're in the same boat. We can't keep moving back to the intolerance and the disrespect. Now's the time to stand up and kindly interject. We believe in open borders. Hell, wasn't the country built with slaves and refugees? We believe in fair wages, equal work for equal pay, please. So how can 90% of us be struggling and not be so fed up we raise our voices? Now's the time that we're finally banding together for more compassionate choices. Because only when we each step up and do our part to heal the wounds of the world, until we see divinity in each face, will we stop the hate that's being unfurled. I pray that you will join me as we set out to change our fate. This I know for certain, love will always trump hate. We need to build up this momentum and keep moving forward towards our brighter tomorrow, because it's from our children's future that each of us borrow clean water and air, safe streets, and wages that are fair. Now is the time to stand up and say yes. 90% of us do care. We need to take back this country for the brave and the free, because I want my black children's children to finally see how a country built with tolerance and acceptance should really be. Because what we resist will persist. So I say it's time to share the love. Ignore the rhetoric and let your heart be led from above. Because it takes the left wing and the right wing for the eagle to soar. So let's choose to start working together and find divinity at every person's core. Won't you join me here in the oneness as we make a plan moving forward to heal the wounds that have been suffered on our planet and in our country? Namaste, dear friends. Love and peace and blessings to you all.